Hey YouTube, welcome back. Did you miss me? Nah, I thought not. What I thought I'd just do is let's put a quick video together here and just give you a little tour of my renovated workshop and sort of catch you up with what's been going on in my little corner of the world here. As you can see, we've got a flat pack on the floor there. That's a tool trolley that I'm going to be putting together shortly. Got some workshop equipment stashed along the back there. Floor jack, catch pan, mats, ramps, so on and so forth. If you remembered at all from my earlier videos, my workbench used to be over in that corner. It was actually an old computer desk that was getting kind of past it and was dubious as to whether it was ever up to the task to which it was being used. But you know, it's one of those things. I just started cleaning this place out one day, and you know, one garbage bag turned into 10, 10 turned into 20, 20 turned into a mini skip, and one mini skip actually turned into two mini skips. There was actually shelving pretty much all down that far wall there, and it was basically full of mostly junk, you know, sort of 3/4 finished cans of paint that had dried up, parts and pieces to cars that are long gone that I'm never going to own again. So I threw the junk away, I threw the rickety shelves and desk away, and we had a bit of a sort of shed down the other end of the garden that was falling down. So unfortunately I now have to share my workshop space with some lawn care equipment, but I've got it all confined over the far side there, out of my way behind the 850 there. So perhaps a little less space than I could have had, but overall it just about works. A bit of heavy lifting equipment over there that really sees the light of day. Some spare wheels. Over there, I think I may or may not have mentioned him in previous videos, but there was a gentleman, let's say, who used to live next door with his wife. His wife was always perfectly pleasant, but he is the type that would come over and complain at the slightest hint of noise or anything going on around the property, but would be ridiculously inconsiderate himself, and you know, just wanted to have the game his way in both respects. He has thankfully upped sticks and moved on to pastures new. Haven't seen sight and sound of him in over a year, and to be honest, wouldn't care if I never do again. So there's a nice family moved in next door, all seem perfectly pleasant and normal, so excellent. Now, over here, we have what every good workshop needs, which is a large and very solid workbench. Been after something like this for a good long time. I was finally at a juncture where I had the money and the inclination to get this sorted, tying in with the throwing out of all the rubbish. I finally had the space for it. I had the funds available, so I found this thing on eBay. It's brand new. It came sort of with the back pre-assembled, the top pre-assembled, and the lower shelf and the legs assembled. So all I had to do was put like the 6 pieces together to make the bench. It was very quick to assemble, and unlike most of the garbage you get hold of nowadays, this thing, you know, it'll probably be here when I'm gone. So awesome. I'm sure it'll serve me well, and it's even it's on wheels, so it can roll out of here should the need arise. a lot of clutter on the bench at the moment. Kind of got a, you know, workshop supplies are kind of spilling onto the work surface. We've got a good stash of gloves and kitchen towel and some wipes up there. Good stash of deionized water and coolant there. We've got some multiple vehicles in need of fresh coolant. Up here, this is my little YouTube wall of fame. If anyone at all bored, match the license plate to the YouTuber. And a couple extra that I bought for no reason, just because I liked them. This contraption here, not as antiquated as it looks. That is a, how should I describe that? That's a UXW Bill inspired anti-theft device. Some of you may get that, some of you may not. A little bit of jack stands and whatnot going on here, and ta-da! Isn't that glorious? I think it's finally big enough. I think you probably saw it in the background of my previous videos. I had the bottom unit on the right hand side and the top unit on the left there. Sort of got to the situation where it was overflowing that, so I got another matching unit to go with that one. That got everything really where it needed to be, and before long I managed to overflow that, so those middle sections, I actually got a really good deal on those. I got those actually direct from those guys, but on eBay. They actually have, you know, offers on this stuff, you know, a couple of times a year where it's, you know, 30, 40, 50% off, whatever. But I also found those on eBay with free delivery, so better got even better. And in fact, that's where that came from. Again, free delivery, marvellous. So perhaps the question on some of your minds, why was I gone for so long? In the first instance, I just kind of ran out a little bit of videos to be making, basically. The S70, you know, at the time I started the channel, it was all about doing the timing belt on that, and then, you know, made a few videos about other bits and pieces, but at that point I kind of got the S70 where it needed to be, and that, you know, I sort of ran out of material. And you know, obviously I was doing service and stuff and whatever, but, you know, once you film that once, there's not much point in doing it again. And then sort of about 18 months ago, some very sad news in that my mother took ill very suddenly, and, you know, went downhill over the space of less than 2 weeks, and unfortunately passed away. That in itself was obviously not, you know, a very nice time to be dealing with things, but the situation after was, I don't want to go into that, but it was harder than it needed to be, and suffice it to say that video making went well onto the back burner, and you know, fell down the list of priorities to the point where it just wasn't going to happen. So you know, the last 6 months or so I've sort of got the situation straightened out. I think, you know, more or less as good as it's going to be. Completely renovated my workshop, as you can see. Ready to, you know, get into a fresh round of videos and mischief with older vehicles. Let me see, what have we got coming up? One of the things I've had to do is take care of my late mother's car. You know, I was using it for, you know, a few months as my spare car, but you know, I didn't really have the need for two vehicles at that time, and it sort of fell out of use and sat there for about a year. But I eventually got that recommissioned, put a fresh MOT on it, and I should say that was the 2002 V40, I think I might have mentioned. It went through the MOT really without any trouble, and after that what I did is put a fresh timing belt and water pump on it. I have videoed that will be coming up shortly, and that car has since gone down the road to a new owner, and so there's not going to be any more videos on that one. Let me see, I've got my my 850 here, old number one. This has actually been off the road for about 18 months now. There's nothing at all particularly wrong with it. If I put a working battery on it, it'd fire up and go down to the MOT station right now, and I've no doubt that it would pass. It's just it started with the situation with my late mother's car, and then I swapped my spare car insurance onto that and was using that for a while. So this one has just sat for a while. There are a few little jobs that need doing on it. Nothing that really merits a video in its own right. But I might put that all together. You know, just to make a compilation video out of it. Just realised I'm pointing at a garage door. S70, just through there. That's been doing pretty well. Nothing major has gone wrong with it in the time I've been gone. Only thing of note really was it went through a period of underheating, and then it had one little episode where it just overheated very slightly. I say that the temperature gauge was up slightly. I wouldn't go so far as to say it overheated, but that caused me to put a thermostat in it. I wasn't really in the frame of mind to film it, and it would have made a pretty terrible video, to be honest, because the thermostat's in a very difficult spot. It's down the front of the engine, and I would have spent the whole time just working in the space where the camera needed to be pointing. So if the opportunity presents, I may just make a little recap video on how you go about doing that. Just if anyone's interested, you can't get the thermostat from Volvo anymore. They don't do it, but you can get the quality one on the aftermarket, no problem. Regarding upcoming videos on the S70, it's due for another round of servicing. I'm not going to film the oil change again, but I am going to film, I should say refilm the fluid change on the automatic transmission, because I wasn't at all happy with the way that came out. It's been a couple of years since I've checked up on the glow plugs, so I'm going to see how they're doing. You know, if they don't need to come out, I might not make a full video on that, but I'll certainly make one of the testing procedure, which can be done with the plugs in the car. I'm going to have a good look round the suspension on that car. There's no strange noises going on or anything like that, but the ride quality is it's deteriorating somewhat. It's kind of getting harsh at the front, firmer than it was before, but you're sort of feeling everything coming through into the cabin, which wasn't the case before. And at the back, it's just going like doing kind of thing at times. Where basically, I think the shocks all the way around have basically had it Apologies for the noise coming from next door. They've got some builders in. I'm not going to do a step-by-step on how to replace the suspension. Sure, those videos are out there already, but I will kind of document it in some way that it's happened. I might try and actually put that together in, you know, a kind of a more of an entertaining sort of video rather than a how-to, so to speak. And of course, another video that's coming up, I'm sure it's the one you've all been on the edge of your seats waiting for. I'm gonna explain, and if necessarily, I'm gonna explain, and if necessary, film the procedure for checking and adjusting both the timing belts, and then I'm gonna obviously check, and if necessary, adjust the fuel pump timing. I mean, I know I do have a video, a step-by-step already. Again, I'm just going to do a sort of a more simplified video and kind of showing, you know, what you could expect after 2 years. And in fact, due to the situation as it's been, I think we're actually closer to 3 years now than 2 years. Can't remember exactly when I did the belt change now. It was actually a while before I uploaded it, but there we go. And behind this side of the door, we've got a new vehicle. Not a brand I've had before, but it is definitely in keeping with, you know, the spirit of the channel, I suppose, which is started off about old school diesels. So not quite as old as the S70, but it's that generation of diesel. It's a rotary pump, nice and simple. So I'll reveal that one a little bit further down the road, and I'll try and tag something on at the end of this video just to give you a little teaser as to what that might be. Won't give too many spoilers on the new one. I'm doubtless that there will be a timing belt job coming on that as well. I mean, the lady who sold it to me assured me that the belt was done a couple of years ago. So you know how that one goes. She swore it's done but couldn't prove it. So we're going to get into that and see what we find. That's also, yeah, I think it's losing a little bit of coolant perhaps, and underheating at times. So we're going to dig into that. I think that may all come together in one video, and there's a bit of a clunk going on at the front end somewhere, so that's going to have to be inspected and rectified as needed. I'll be putting this video up within a couple of days. Then I've got the timing belt videos coming up on the V40. They are not quite ready, so they're going to follow over the next couple of weeks. I'm going to try and, you know, put something out every week, you know, as far as that's possible, and so far as I have, you know, something that merits being put up onto YouTube, really. So congratulations if you've made it through this far, and we'll be seeing you shortly in another video. Thanks for watching.